Have you ever felt like you're losing your sense of self, suffocating in despair because of someone in your life? It's possible that your spirit is being subtly drained, poisoned without you even noticing. In this video, we're uncovering 5 manipulative tactics that narcissists use to control and dominate. By the end, you'll be armed with the insight to spot the warning signs and the strategies to escape their toxic grip. You'll gain the tools needed to shield yourself, reclaim your power, and take control of your life once more. Understanding how narcissists operate will give you the confidence to face them head-on. When it comes to overt narcissists, those openly arrogant and domineering, their behavior is easier to identify. Their inflated ego often masks a deep fear of vulnerability. But with covert narcissists, the game changes. Their superiority hides beneath subtle, deceptive layers, pulling us into their web without us realizing. This is why relationships with covert narcissists can last for years, even decades. It's only when we step back and reflect on their actions, and even our own responses, that the painful reality becomes clear. Being caught in a toxic relationship is like standing at the heart of a storm. You're surrounded by chaos, fear, and confusion. In the moment, you're too focused on surviving, resolving conflicts, and keeping the peace to see the bigger picture. You don't notice how deeply you're being controlled and manipulated. It's only when you step away, from a safe distance, that you can see the storm for what it truly was. You'll recognize the patterns of abuse, the red flags, and the harm it caused. If you're questioning your relationship, stay with me. Together, we'll examine 11 common tactics narcissists use, helping you to spot the signs and break free from their control. I'll guide you every step of the way, offering practical tools to safeguard your well-being and rebuild your life. You'll understand their methods and learn how to confront them with unwavering confidence. And by the end, I'll reveal the ultimate strategy to ensure no narcissist can ever harm you again. Subscribe now to start your journey towards freedom from psychological manipulation. It's time to reclaim your happiness and live the life you deserve. Before we dive in, take a moment to affirm your strength. Write in the comments below, "I am strong." 1. Beware of those who seem shy. Covert narcissists often present themselves as reserved or introverted, a demeanor that can easily be mistaken for shyness or humility. But over time, their true colors emerge. This quiet exterior is not a sign of modesty, but a deliberate tactic to observe, analyze, and subtly judge others. Unlike overt narcissists, they don't display arrogance in obvious ways. Instead, they rely on passive-aggressive behaviors to assert their superiority. Consider a colleague who appears calm, speaks little, and avoids drawing attention. At first, you might interpret this as a lack of confidence or a preference for working quietly. However, over time, you start to notice subtle digs or sarcastic comments about others' achievements. These remarks, while casual on the surface, often carry hidden barbs designed to undermine or discomfort. They rarely confront others directly, choosing instead to subtly attack with words, leaving those around them feeling uneasy. In personal relationships, such as dating someone who seems reserved or timid, this behavior can be even more challenging to identify. Initially, their quiet nature may come across as endearing, a sign of sensitivity or thoughtfulness. Yet, as the relationship progresses, passive-aggressive tendencies surface. They might give you the cold shoulder when displeased or use silence as a means to manipulate your emotions. What once seemed like charming shyness is eventually revealed to be a mask, hiding a more controlling and difficult personality. That said, it's crucial to understand that not all shy or introverted people are covert narcissists. Many genuinely humble and reserved individuals have no interest in judging or competing with others. Their quiet demeanor often stems from discomfort in social settings or personal insecurities, without any malice or hidden agenda. The key is learning to distinguish between these two types of individuals and ensuring their behavior does not disrupt your peace. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot control how others behave, we have full control over our own reactions. Instead of getting drawn into cycles of judgment and conflict, focus on your own values and actions. Maintain inner calm and steadfastness, and don't let others' behavior shake your core. 2. Watch out for the love-bombing tactic. When dealing with individuals who exhibit covert narcissistic traits, one of their go-to strategies for gaining your trust and sympathy is the infamous love bombing phase. During this stage, they shower you with excessive admiration and affection, often accompanied by dramatic, heart-wrenching stories designed to forge an intense emotional connection. You're made to feel like the most extraordinary person in their life, kind, irreplaceable, and uniquely attuned to their needs. Their words and actions make you believe you're someone they've never encountered before. Grand romantic gestures and fervent compliments leave you feeling special and deeply loved, but beneath this facade, a more calculated motive. A common method they use to tighten this emotional bond is by recounting painful experiences with a previous partner. They might say things like, "My ex was so toxic I felt like I was walking on eggshells every day. She was crazy," or "he was crazy." These narratives paint them as the victim, eliciting your sympathy and positioning you as their savior. They may add, "You're incredible, you're so loyal, you'd never betray me like my ex did." Yet in reality, it's often the opposite. They were the ones who betrayed their ex. These stories are carefully crafted to evoke pity and set you apart from their former partner, making you feel indispensable in their eyes. Over time, however, the cracks in their stories start to show. As you reflect and observe their behavior more closely, the inconsistencies become apparent. The tragic tales they spun begin to lose credibility, revealing them as manipulative tools rather than honest confessions. What seemed like genuine admiration during the love bombing stage turns out to be a calculated performance intended to secure your emotional investment and ensure a steady supply of attention and validation. The idealization and tragic narratives of the love bombing phase are ultimately part of a larger manipulation strategy. Stoic philosophy reminds us of the importance of maintaining clarity and emotional resilience in the face of such tactics. Marcus Aurelius, a prominent Stoic thinker, advised that we should not allow external influences to cloud our judgment or dictate our emotions. When confronted with love bombing, strive to stay grounded. Don't be swayed by flattery or sob stories. Instead, focus on the truth of their actions and behavior, not the illusions they want you to believe. 3. They always appear to be the victim. One subtle yet telling trait of a covert narcissist is their tendency to seek attention not through arrogance, but by portraying themselves as perpetually unfortunate. These are individuals who always seem to be dealing with some kind of hardship. Whether it's health issues, financial troubles, or family drama, they consistently position themselves as the victim of unfortunate circumstances. For example, you might hear that they regularly visit the salon several times a week. Yet when you meet them, they're quick to lament their suffering, perhaps complaining about persistent illnesses or endless difficulties. If someone mentions their frequent salon visits, they might respond with something like, "Oh, I had to get my hair done because I woke up feeling so terrible this morning." Their narratives are always designed to draw sympathy, even in situations where the facts don't quite align. Spending time with such individuals can feel emotionally draining. Conversations often revolve around their endless challenges. They'll talk about being sick, their children being sick, or their spouse being unwell, all with the goal of keeping the spotlight on themselves. However, when a real crisis occurs in someone else's life, their reaction often reveals their true nature. Instead of showing genuine concern or empathy, they might express annoyance or resentment. For instance, if their mother is diagnosed with cancer, they may not seem heartbroken about her illness. Instead, they might focus on how the situation inconveniences them or shifts attention away from their own struggles. If a cousin or friend is seriously ill, they might resent the sympathy being directed toward that person instead of themselves. Their complaints then center around how they are burdened by having to deal with the situation, as though caring for others is an unfair imposition rather than an act of love. This behavior stems from a desire to manipulate emotions and maintain attention without appearing overly self-important. By consistently framing themselves as victims of negative circumstances, covert narcissists compel those around them to offer sympathy and support. Over time, this creates a dynamic where others feel guilty for not showing enough concern, leading to emotional exhaustion and frustration. Recognizing this pattern is crucial to breaking free from the cycle of negativity they perpetuate. By understanding their tactics, you can protect your emotional well-being and avoid being drawn into the web of manipulation that covert narcissists often create. 4. They show indifference to what happens to you. When interacting with a covert narcissist, you'll notice their apparent indifference to your experiences, especially when it comes to emotional matters. They might appear to listen out of politeness, but there's no genuine care or connection behind their responses. Attempts to share your feelings, seek empathy, or ask for advice often result in cold detachment or dismissive remarks. Instead of providing support or comfort, they'll frequently change the subject or respond insensitively, as if your emotions are insignificant. For instance, imagine you've had a tough day at work. Your boss unfairly criticized you, colleagues were uncooperative, and you're left feeling emotionally drained. Hoping for some sympathy, you confide in the covert narcissist, but instead of understanding, they interrupt with something like, "That doesn't sound so bad. You should have seen the day I had." From there, the conversation pivots entirely to their own story. They aren't truly interested in what you're saying, they're just waiting for their turn to talk about themselves. Another example is during moments of deep personal loss, such as the passing of a loved one. Rather than offering heartfelt empathy, they might diminish your pain by turning the focus back on their own experience. If you express your sorrow, they might respond with something like, "I know how you feel, but at least you still have your family. When my father passed away, I had to deal with everything alone." This type of response not only invalidates your feelings but frames grief as a competition, making your pain feel minimized and unimportant. Their indifference isn't limited to moments of sadness, it's equally evident during your successes. Share a personal achievement, and instead of congratulations, you might receive a lukewarm or dismissive remark. If you excitedly tell them about landing a great job, they might respond with, "Oh, that's nice, but I once had an even better opportunity." Similarly, if you share a major accomplishment, they might downplay it with a comment like it's not that impressive or find a way to highlight its downsides. These behaviors reveal their lack of authentic interest in your life. The covert narcissist resists letting anyone else take center stage. Conversations consistently veer back to them, leaving you feeling overlooked, undervalued, and emotionally isolated. Over time, this indifference can make you realize that their concern for you is superficial. At best, they aren't invested in your well-being or your feelings. It's important to understand that this behavior is not accidental or thoughtless. Their lack of engagement with your emotions is a calculated tactic to maintain the spotlight on themselves. By being distant and indifferent, they ensure the focus remains on their needs and experiences, not yours. Recognizing this pattern is vital for protecting yourself from their manipulative tendencies and maintaining your emotional health. 5. Observe their outbursts. At first, identifying a covert narcissist can be challenging, as they often hide behind a facade, humility, or reserve. However, over time, subtle cracks in this mask begin to appear, particularly through moments of passive-aggressive behavior or unexpected emotional outbursts. These outbursts can leave you bewildered, wondering, where did that come from? For example, they might suddenly slam their hand on a table, bang a cabinet shut, or launch into an angry tirade about how unfairly they are treated. Such behavior sharply contrasts with the image they project: a quiet, selfless, and composed individual. It's during these moments that their true nature slips through, revealing deep-seated frustration and resentment. When they attempt to justify these outbursts, they typically shift the blame to others. You might hear statements like, "She's so clueless, he's awful," or "They don't appreciate how great I am." These remarks reveal a core belief that others are inadequate, unfair, or unworthy, especially when they criticize or challenge the covert narcissist. For them, criticism hits a raw nerve, exposing their fragile self-esteem and bruised ego. Feeling threatened, they lash out, protecting their vulnerabilities with a sudden, defensive aggression. Their emotional outbursts are particularly revealing in situations where jealousy or perceived injustice is involved. Imagine a colleague receiving a promotion while they remain in the same position. Instead of congratulating their peer, they might mutter bitter comments like, "This company has no idea how to value real talent," or that's just favoritism at its worst. Similarly, if they face constructive feedback from a boss or peer, their reaction is rarely reflective or gracious. Instead, they might snap with comments like, "No one understands how hard I work," or "People criticize me because they're jealous of how much better I am." These responses lay bare not just anger but also insecurity, arrogance, and a desperate need for validation. In personal relationships, this behavior can be even more pronounced. If a covert narcissist notices their partner growing more successful, content, or independent, it threatens their need to be the center of attention. This might lead to unnecessary arguments, undermining their partner's confidence, or assigning blame for minor issues. Should their partner confront them about this behavior, the narcissist might explode with statements like, "You have no idea what I've had to endure," or "No one ever truly appreciates me." Such reactions are not about the partner's success, but about the narcissist's inability to handle being overshadowed. These outbursts are a defense mechanism designed to shield the covert narcissist from feeling vulnerable or attacked. In their mind, any form of criticism or perceived rejection is an affront to their fragile ego. They respond with disproportionate intensity, aiming to regain control and protect their self-image. For those around them, these sudden eruptions create an exhausting dynamic. It's like walking on eggshells, constantly anticipating the next spark that might ignite their anger. Over time, you may begin to see through their outward image of gentleness and kindness, recognizing instead the simmering anger and insecurity that fuels their outbursts. These moments are a glimpse into their true character, one that is far less composed than they would like others to believe. We've just uncovered key signs to help you identify a narcissist, particularly a covert one. While they may disguise their true intentions behind a facade of shyness, generosity, or selflessness, their passive-aggressive tendencies, lack of genuine empathy, and unexpected emotional outbursts eventually expose their true character. Spotting a narcissist isn't always straightforward, but it's a crucial first step in shielding yourself from their manipulation and the emotional toll they can take. Trust your instincts, stay alert to subtle red flags, and don't shy away from establishing firm boundaries when needed. If you found this video insightful, please give it a thumbs up, share it with those who might benefit, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated on future content. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Remember, confidence and composure are your greatest allies in any situation. Stay strong and take care.